Hello everyone, good to see you all. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, and more importantly than all of that, Happy New Year, Happy 2026. How weird is that to say? 2025-26 season, just over halfway through, New Year's has hit, and now we're looking into the second half of the campaign and the first game of 2026. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Hopefully we're all okay. Feel free to fire your questions, your comments, whatever. And we're going to talk through team news and everything about the game heading into it today. Welcome to Portman Road. Oxford United, the visitors for this first game of the calendar year. It's one that Town are very heavy favourites to win. It's one that I think the expectation is that they will go and take 3 points, especially off the back of Monday night. A 2-0 win away at league leaders Coventry City. Jack Clark with the opener in the second half after a first half that Town dominated. Let's be honest, they were by far the better team, couldn't take advantage in that first half. Second half was more even, but they had the moments of quality to go and get the 3 points from that one. And then, of course, Wes Burns, you can see just in front of me, warming up in the rondo round there. Yeah, that was an amazing moment. And if you go and check out the ATT, if you haven't already, if you go check out our website, the ATT or Ipswich Start, we've got a nice long interview from that post-match from Wes Burns talking about his injury. So he's back on the bench today. Let's take you through the team news. Ipswich Town team news, starting off with the Town starting lineup. Here is the team for today. So it's 4 changes in total. We'd look at the back line to start off with. Walton keeps his place. Furlong, O'Shea, Kipray also in there. And then Leif Davis comes back in. Jacob Greaves had a really good game against Coventry. Leif Davis was ill for that one, so wasn't in the squad. Jacob Greaves came in under left back for that game. Did really well. That probably gave Kieran McKenna a little bit of a selection headache. McKenna is obviously someone who, if you play well, you keep the shirt. But I guess it's a little bit different in this situation where, from Jacob Greaves' perspective, it's not his position. He's not a left back. He's a left-sided centre back. Leif Davis is the left back. He's the only natural fit left back in the squad with Connor Townsend out for the season. So he comes back in for this one. Definitely in a game like this, it makes the most sense to have that. And then looking into midfield, of course, Azor Matasiwa keeps his place. He is still, don't forget, 1 booking away from a 2-match ban. If he hits 10 yellow cards, which he will do at some point before the cut-off, I think, unfortunately, he will be suspended for 2 games. If that happens today, I will need to double-check that, actually. I think he will be suspended for... wouldn't count for the cup, unfortunately. I think it would unfortunately be that he would be suspended for the game against Portsmouth on Sunday and the home game against Blackburn after the cup game against Blackpool. I don't think he'd be lucky enough to be able to escape that one, given it would be, I think, competition specific. And then the front line, Cinderella Igeli on the right keeps his place, Marcelino Nunez as well, and then a couple of changes. Jaden Philogene wasn't a starter at the CBS Arena. He was benched. That, I think, was for 2 reasons. One is it was a good opportunity to get Jack Clark into the team. And of course, he performed incredibly well in that game, but also because Jaden Philogene had a bit of a knock that he took at the Den against Millwall. So no need to risk him. He got a little cameo towards the end. He comes back into the start here. Mr. Portman Road, of course, 8 goals this season, all here, which is a pretty remarkable stat. And then Chuba Akpom up top, and that will lead us into a couple of comments, actually. Chuba Akpom, this one from Mark. Nice to see Akpom start up top today. I can see him scoring. I agree, yeah, I think it's good to have that. Well, with George Hurst out, you don't want to overload even Azon. Let's be honest, it's been a frustrating and somewhat disappointing loan so far from both players, to be honest. But Azon's a young player who's never played in this division. He's coming in having never played in England. He's only ever played in Spanish second tier, in the Italian top flight. He hardly even played in the Italian top flight. So comes into a really difficult situation. And with Hurst out, you don't want to kind of lean too heavily on him. So being able to rotate, again, it'll be interesting to see what the team is going to compete on Sunday. But being able to do that, rotate, chop and change, bring Tuba Akpom in, bring in a former Golden Boot winner, no less, I think is quite good. Against Mikael Helik in particular, I think that what we've seen at times, it happened less so in the game against Coventry, but more, let's say, against Millwall, these big, tall, dominant centre-backs prove to be really difficult for Azon because he's quite stocky, but he's only about 5'8". He can kind of bounce off them a little bit. Helik is about 6'5", 6'6", something ridiculous. And I think that Akpom, who's tall, got a bit more about him in terms of the physical aspect, might be better suited for a game like this one. So yeah, I agree. I think it's the right call to have him in. Let's take a few more. Jamie says, Happy New Year, AJ Adol. Happy New Year, everyone. Can hear. Good that you can hear me. Good stuff. Let's go and have a look. Jamie's got a bet on. Davis down to score 12-1 gamble responsibly, folk. Yeah, I mean, I think that Davis is always quite an interesting price for the bookies, isn't it? Because you look at defenders and left backs, you probably look at his goal record, and it's not the strongest, but look at the positions he gets into. It's not something that betting markets focus on as much. You can understand that. You know who I always fancy at the moment? Cedric Kitray, just because set piece threat. Let's be honest, and centre backs are always going to be a high price when you're betting. I don't want to get too heavily into betting here, just in case. If you're under 18, then don't pay any attention to this. But from a centre back perspective, they're always priced so highly, and when you've got teams like Town who will be dominant, who will win corners, set pieces, free kicks, etc., then I think Kitray at a high price. Don't know what he would be for today. Would be quite a good one to have. Chris says we need to get a good win today. Come on, Ipswich. Yeah, I think so. I think it's obviously about the scoreline and winning the game, but it needs to be a controlled, if not dominant, display from Town. There are clear levels between these two teams, and I say that with full respect for Oxford and what they have achieved. It's really impressive with what's in the budget, with the fact that they were able to stay up last season. They're giving it a good go this campaign. They're obviously managerless at the moment, having sacked Gary Rowett. All those things in mind, I think that this should be a game where Town can really assert their dominance. It really should be, given that they've kind of come into this one off topping the league leaders, given that they've got an attack where their left wing is worth or cost £20 million. Their right winger cost £17.5 million. They've got a Golden Boot winner in the number 9 role. There's a lot of quality in this team, and now it's about can they break Oxford United down, because Oxford, if they go toe-to-toe with Town, I think they'll lose this one quite heavily. They've got to manage the game, and I'm sure that interim head coach Craig Short will be aware of that one. Mark says, if Akpom doesn't do very well today, I can see the loan being cancelled if possible. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk about kind of loan cancellations because none of the loanees have really kicked on apart from Cedric Kitray. Jens Hughes has been in and out of the team, hit and miss performances. We haven't yet seen a top display from the start from Azon, and that comes yet to really offer too much. So I can understand it, but it's a difficult thing to do, especially when Ajax have been so desperate to move him on, and given that Town are in a strong position to get promoted, if Ipswich are promoted, he will become an Ipswich player over the summer within the current agreement. Negotiating out of that would be tough. I don't want to jump on Tuba too much because it's, again, like even for different reasons, but even Azon and Tuba, it's been difficult because he hasn't a proper pre-season. He's got to kind of come to a different stylistic fit. No, he hasn't performed, but I want to give him a little bit more time, knowing the player that he is. I don't see a loan being cancelled personally. That'll do for comments for now. Fire in any more comments, questions, anything at all that you want to put forward and we can talk about. We're going to have a look at the Oxford United team. Here it is, 4-2-3-1. So 4 changes for them. Jamie Cummings starts in goal on loan from Chelsea, I think. Not ex-Chelsea. I think he's on loan from Chelsea. Long comes in at right back. It's Helik and Brown who stay as 2 centre-backs Curry at left back, Volks and De Keersmaker as the two centre mids. De Keersmaker, I believe, got the assist for the winner in the previous game, the 2-1 defeat at the Katam back in November, that would have been. That lovely looping ball over the top, and that was played to Pochetta, former Norwich City man, has been linked with a move back to his native home. Yeah, he's been linked with a move away. The fact he's starting here suggests to me, I don't think that's in the pipeline immediately for Pochetta, who of course, as I said, scored in that game that Town lost at the Kassam Stadium a couple of months ago. We expect him to be on the right. Tyler Goodrum to play through the middle. I think he fell out of favour under Gary Rowett a little bit, but a talented attacking player. More of a winger than 10, I don't kind of know him, but yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on. Then it'll be Krastev on the left, and we're expecting Lancashire on loan from Tottenham to lead the line. We'll run through the benches for both teams as well. On the bench for Town, Alex Palmer, Wes Burns, Jack Taylor, Ashley Young, Ben Johnson, Casey McAteer, Jacob Rees, Stephen Azon and Jack Clark. On the bench for Oxford, Matt Ingram, Mark Harris, Oda Romani, Luke Harris, Brodie Spencer, Stanley Mills, Tom Bradshaw, ex-Blue Greg Lee, of course, and Sariki Dembele. One notable absentee again, and let's talk about the elephant in the room, is Sam Smodics, not in the squad today. Again, it's the last 3 games through illness. It is worth noting that those 3 games have come in less than 2 weeks. It's 3 games now, isn't it? Well, yeah, last 3, so this will be game number 4. So this will be the 4th game that he's missed through illness, assuming that is the reason given by Kieran McKenna. Again, it's difficult for me to kind of sit here and say too much. We haven't spoken to Kieran about Sam's absence today. On top of that, you can't, from our perspective, as reporters as well, do any more than take it at face value. And I understand that can be really difficult for fans who are concerned, and there's a lot of conspiracies, a lot of rumours that have gone about. I don't know, honestly. And well, Kieran McKenna is giving the answer that he's ill. You can't really argue that. You can't say, well, I don't think you're telling the truth. That's not really how these things work. I understand parallels have been drawn to perhaps Brandon Williams, who was ill, and Amari, who I genuinely do believe, and call me gullible if you want, but with Amari Hutchinson, when Kieran said he was ill in between 2 games that he withdrew himself from, I do actually believe he was ill. So, yeah, it is tricky at the moment. Just taking face value is always what we have to do until we hear otherwise. But Sam Smodics, we're expecting, well, we know is not going to be in the squad today. We'll have to wait and see what the update is on him after today. And of course, heading into a very short turnaround into the trip to Bratton Park. We've got another comment, do we? What is the situation with Connor Chaplin with his loan at Portsmouth? Is there a clause recall in his loan that he might return? It's a good and better option than that in that position. Let's talk through the loans a little bit then, because there's quite a bit of chatter about the loan situation. Connor Chaplin, my understanding is there is a recall option. If Ipswich wants to bring him back to Portman Road this month, they will be able to do so. They will be able to trigger a clause to bring Connor Chaplin back to his loan spell at Portsmouth. It hasn't gone that well at Bratton Park. I think it's improved at the start of his loan spell. It really wasn't working for him at all, was it? He joined on deadline day, just didn't really manage to kick on. But the hope now is, I'm sure from a Portsmouth perspective, that he can play that on the right quite a lot. I think he might have 1 or 2 assists to his name as well. So yeah, want to keep an eye on if Town wants to add someone into that number 10 role. He's literally right there and obviously knows this setup incredibly well. In terms of other loanees within the, let's say, the first team setup, so the youth system is different. Barbara, for example, someone who's mainly been with the academy, he's come back from his loan spell at Lincoln City. But other than that, we're looking at Chidozo Bene, of course, that is a more tricky one because it has been reported that Chio is someone that Sheffield United want to move on. He's on loan at Bramwell Lane. There is no break clause within that loan. That is, as we understand it, there is no option for Sheffield United to say we want to send them back and we're going to do it. There's nothing for Town to say we're going to trigger a recall to bring him back. It would have to be negotiated to break that loan deal. Given that Wes Burns is back, given that Casey McAteer is here, and Sindra Muller-Igeli, I don't think we'll be seeing Chio back in a Town shirt this season, at least. Any others off the top of my head am I missing? Ali Al-Hamadi, of course, hasn't played a lot for Luton, but he said on social media he's expecting to be back action for them later this month, and also it's an obligation. So at the end of the season, he will be a Luton player on a permanent basis. Am I missing any others? Let me know if I am. But yes, that is the current situation as we see it with the loanees. Graham says, why drop Freeze and Clark? Crazy. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, from a Jacob Freeze perspective, he's not a left back. That's the main thing. You've got a fit left back who's 100% ready to go. Then you probably want to play that player in his natural position. This is also Oxford at home. It's a game where Town are going to have more of the ball than they did, against Coventry in midweek, or Monday, where a lot of the play was quite direct against Coventry. He was winning flick-ons to keep the pressure on. It's not going to be like that today. I don't think Town are going to be overly direct. I don't think it's going to be that kind of game. And I think that it's going to be one that suits Davis a lot more. I think that there will be certain matches that Town will play where Jacob Reeves at left back would be more suitable. I don't think this is one. And Jack Clark, tricky from a Jack Clark perspective. Splitting minutes, aren't they? That's the thing. 8 goals to one, 8 goals to the other. One of them really performs well at Portman Road, and maybe struggles more away from home. And Jack Clark's been pretty consistent with his performances this season. Good to see you. Michael says, signings that Ipswich have made in the summer plus obligation to sign back pocket promoted. Isn't that pushing Town to PSR limit, which may impact how much the club can spend should promotion happen? Yes, so PSR, FFP, all these things, so it is being redone in the Premier League as we understand it, but the club will be all over that. At the moment, it's kind of done in a 3-year window, so it will do. It will push things, but I don't really know how the fees work in that sense. Would the £6-7 million obligation for Tuba, would that be something that would count towards their numbers for last summer or for this summer, this coming summer? I think it'll be for this coming one, for next summer rather. But we're not totally sure. Yeah, it is something. But look, Town have signed him expecting that they can get promoted and that he will have a part to play in the Premier League. Will that be the case? I'm not too sure. It's something that we can't really look too deep on until it happens, until we know what Tuba's season looks like, until we know if Town have gone up, for example. So, yes, it'll be the same with him. It'll be the same against Euster. It'll be the same with Cedric Kipray, although I think Kipray, everyone wants Cedric Kipray to be an Ipswich opponent player as soon as possible. Jamie White says, I'm thinking 4-0 home win. Good luck, everyone. 2026. Hopefully end with the Blues in the Prem. I hope so. They're the bookies' second favourites for the title. So that's the expectation. They will go and win promotion. We'll have to wait and see. 4-0 home win. I kind of toyed with the idea that they could go and win this one quite big, but I don't want to jump on that too much at this point, given that Town haven't had like a big home win, I don't think, since the Sheffield United game back in September in Oxford, although they don't win many games and do lose quite a few, are mostly kind of a 1-2s conceded team. So I've gone with a 2-0 myself. I think that'll be a good result as long as it's, again, a display where Town can assert their dominance. We'll take a couple more questions that we haven't spoken about yet. Let me just have a look. Take this one from Michael Brown in terms of the players that they allowed to leave. Ipswich, Chapman, Broadhead, Moore, Burns, a strong attacking unit. And I understand that, but ultimately they were a strong attacking unit, I think, more than anything, because they became this band of brothers over time. They all knew each other like the back of their hand. Let's look at those players. All of them, Connor Captain's out at Portsmouth and struggling. Nathan Broadhead has done some good bits at Wrexham, but nothing great. Keeper Moore, you know what Keeper Moore is in the Championship, but it's a different story in the Premier League. You need a different level of striker. Would he have done what Liam Delap did? Probably not. So I think it doesn't make sense, given that Town's long-term ambition to be a Premier League football club. Did it make sense to have these players in that last season? I don't think so. You need to build ahead, look at talents that are more likely to have careers in the Premier League towards the top end of that division, like Jaden Philogene, like Jack Clark, like Dara O'Shea and others. So I think that you have to look at that side of things as well. Michael says, when is the next KOA podcast taking place? Usually hosted by Roscoe during the non-game day. When is the next pod that we're doing? I don't know. Might be tomorrow, might be next week. We'll have to wait and see. But stay tuned. I'm glad that everyone's still following. We'll do this last one since it's January. Christopher says, we do still need another striker. Don't you agree? I do agree. And I think that I don't want to jump on strikers too much, where George Hurst in particular does so much good with his hard work, keeping people busy. It's difficult to be a number 9 in an Ipswich Town team because there's so much hard work that goes into it, so much physical stress, so much linked up play, so many things that go under the radar in terms of what he does that cannot really be ignored. The difference is that Town have missed the most big chances in the division. George Hurst and Azon, I think, are level on big chances missed with 11. They need someone who can simply stick the ball in the back of the net. Jeremy McKenna said that Hurst's injury wouldn't impact transfer plans. I think personally that transfer plans before Hurst's injury, regardless of Hurst's injury, would have been for them to sign a striker this month. And I would expect a new number 9 in through the door to compete with Azon, to compete with George Hurst. That's what I'm expecting from this month. So there you go. We'll run through teams quickly before we head off. Town 11, 4-2-3-1, Walton in goal, Furlong, O'Shea, Kipray and Davis in the back line, Matasiwa and Jens T. Euster into midfield, Cinderovala, Eggley and Nunez and Philogene making up the 3 that play behind them. Cuba Atcom, your Oxford team as well, 4-2-3-1, Jamie Cumming in goal, Long, Hellick, Brown and Curry make up the back line, Volkson to Keir Smucker into midfield. Foschetta on the right, he scored the winner in the last meeting between these two teams back in November. Cardiff Goodrum in the 10, Brastev on the left, and Lancashire on loan from Tottenham up front. For Oxford United, can Ipswich win back-to-back games? A big old victory at the CBS Arena on Monday night against the league leaders, but it has to be backed up. A big old pump, big old everything, isn't it? Oxford at home today, Pompey at Fratton Park on the horizon, and then the Cup before the Blackburn home game in a fortnight's time. Just over this one first, though. All eyes on Oxford United. We kick off in 12 minutes. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy the game. If you're not here, then come and follow all the action with us. Live blog is up and running. All of the pre-match, post-match content is online now. Keep your eyes peeled. We'll see you on the other side. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy the game.